right if I hadn't had this period of finding my feet, which was the touring Dogman Star for a whole year. In terms of whether we had something to prove, hell yes.
Diesel and gasoline, psycho for drum machine, shaking hits to hits, out drag acts, drug acts, suicide, in your that suits you hide, saying his name again, out.
Richard turned up with a cassette one day called Dead Leg, and me and Alan were in the middle of one of our parties, I seem to remember, and Richard sort of sat there, had a cup of tea while I was sort of like swaying and trying to focus my eyes. And I kind of ended up kind of going and work on the song and listen to this riff that he'd written, which is you know, it's like, oh wow, that's really good, you know. And I sort of started weaving this song around the riff, high on diesel and gasoline, psycho for drum machine, this sort of bits torn out of the pages of my notebook.
Second,
My
the first two
phone's not
verses
working,
actually,
is it?
yeah, it is. It's working right. The first two verses are exactly the same. That Here they come, the beautiful ones, the beautiful ones. La, 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 here they come, the beautiful ones.
I kind of started to piece this song together, a song about my sort of marginal life on the edges of proprietary. And I called it Beautiful Scum. That was the original title of the song. Here they come, the beautiful scum. It was this sort of, here I am, this is my life, deal with it. And I thought, okay, this is really good, but beautiful scum, no, it's a bit silly, isn't it? Let's change it to beautiful ones. And that was that was the song. And there was this sort of very funny afternoon, completely off our faces, and I was just singing the song, sweating in this little tiny orange room.
What the fucking words? Oh god, yeah. Sorry, start again. The beautiful ones.
Really got it.
That is not a single. Sorry, no choice about it. It's definitely not a single. If that's what you want the song to be, then fine. Just say that to make it really good.
We need blackmail like that, mate.
It's not blackmail.
Okay, bring on the expectation. This is going to be great. Because I think we knew it was good and it didn't sound like Dogman Star.
Try that in the track.
We wrote far more as a band after Richard joined. We spent a lot more time with the band kind of arranging things. He was really comfortable with that. He's never been precious about his songs. You know, cut them up, move them around. If it's better for the song, if it's better for the band, then he's fine that way.
Oh, isn't it nice? Everyone's together, right? It's lovely, isn't it?
I very much wanted to be a band again, to sort of like work together and to write in the same room and, you know, to try and do all those things that I felt we'd missed out on with Dogman Star, that we kind of drifted into this weird state.
And then we accidentally became a five-piece. I was lending Neil a suit because I think he was going for an interview for a job in London. He'd just come down from Hull, where he was at university.
So I thought I'd kind of borrow a suit off Simon. He was the only person I knew who had a suit.
But yeah, pop along to the studio tomorrow.
Simon neglected to mention that his cousin was actually a pretty good musician.
I don't think I knew he was a musician at the time. He was just my cousin Neil from Hull. And that was it. I had no knowledge that he was going to sit down and play the piano.
I remember, I think it was the first day you turned up and Simon was videoing you playing the piano and you had "Sign On" written on your hand.
Yeah. A few days later, Simon said, "Oh, come hang out some more."
And that's how it happened, really. That's how he became in Suede. We weren't looking for anybody else. I actually seem to remember me saying to Brett, "Are you sure about this?"
Kind of cared about music, and he had a passion and an intensity as well. And I just sort of knew he should be part of the band, really.
I think there was a shrug of the shoulders when Simon's cousin was introduced.
Yeah, Charlie was a bit suspicious at first. I went round to his place in Islington and he said, "Well, I don't know why they've decided this, but apparently Suede want another member."
You know, if it had been John from Camden or something, there might have been less of a shrug, but there was something about the fact that someone's relative just popped in the studio and now he's in the band. But it wasn't like that. It was a slow process of osmosis. He turned up for a couple of times, did a couple of things, and then just became a little bit more present. And musically, there was definitely something he brought to it very quickly indeed.
But I think Matt was quite difficult to get to know early on. He didn't speak to me for about 6 months.
I like four pieces. They look right to me. All of those doubts, all of those possible problems were negated by the fact that we made a great noise together. We were playing the songs and they sounded brilliant. Nothing really matters if that's right. That's it.
It got quite confusing for Ed. He didn't know our names early on. He couldn't distinguish between us. And I think that he used to call Richard New Boy and me New Boy, just because he was scared of calling me Richard and Richard Neil.
Yeah, it is true. Nobody else in Suede is like him. You know, Suede is a band of individuals at the best of times, but Neil is unique. And he's actually turned into a very, very good foil with Richard. The two of them actually complement each other perfectly.
Oh, fuck off! Neil appearing, as he kind of did, and starting to kind of tinkle on the piano along with what we were doing, just felt like part of that evolution into a new band. Around the time that Neil started appearing, we were writing songs like Saturday Night.
Lots of people thought that Richard couldn't replace Bernard as a songwriter.
He couldn't have two more different sort of like experiences, you know, writing Dogman Star and then writing Coming Up, you know.
We were such a close-knit unit, and that was a new thing for Suede. I think there'd been an awful lot of separatism when they were recording Dogman Star.
We were a kind of a little family again, and we were a little gang again, and that was a lovely thing, and I'd really missed that.
Coming Up was a collection of incredibly precise, concise pop songs. It was definitely an attempt to stamp a new identity on the new band, the new lineup.
I've always been into punk and post-punk, and that very distilled style of skew-if pop music that punk brought along. And I think I sort of woke that up in Suede a little bit. When we came to write things like She and Film Star, they weren't punk songs, but they really had that kind of sense of brutality and simplicity behind them.
Saul still thought we were missing the anthem, the kind of definitive song for the album.
You need a first single, you need a kind of flagship statement. You know, you had We Are the Pigs last time.
Then there was a song called Piss Pot that kind of I must have liked something about. But I didn't like the chorus, and I got Richard to say, no, the verses are right, but change the chorus. He wrote this chorus, and I was like, okay, this is great. And I wrote this thing,